Oh, well, that's not supposed to happen. Hang on just a second. That was from earlier today. Bing! Wait, where's the camera? There it is. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobie One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with me, Richard Vobes. It's very nice to see you. I'm sorry about that. There was a slight Vobism there, I think. Silly old man, getting in front of the camera, not making it all work. It was all so slick until that point. That was the point in which the show starts to go down the hill, like a cart out of control, trundling along with one wheel very loose, wobbling and tribbling and trobbling until suddenly it falls off and the cart is going completely out of control in a different direction than anyone thought. And people are running, those poor women who have been picking daisies up on the hillside, thinking about their lovers and putting them into what those things they shove round their necks, and seeing this out of control mad Vogue cart belting down the hill. Oh no! And they dash to one side, and the men folk who are there swinging from the trees doing baboon impressions leap out to try and save them, but trip at the last moment as the cart goes thundering over them. Dow! And hurts them into smithereens. That's the kind of problem that we have on this show. Anything can happen, and invariably does. But never mind. It's very nice to be here on the 27th of January 2021, live and direct, as they used to say on the old radio stations when I used to live and direct to BBC Radio Carolina. But they don't do that anymore. They're just saying things like, we're on the internet, we're on streaming this, and we're on that service and this service and that, with Twitch and Nick and Shap and Fip and Tooch and Scratch and Pick the Nose, all those different streaming types of services. And also we're on the old-fashioned whatever that is. Anyway, it's very nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for watching. Good night. Wait a minute, yes. I have a list, another blooming list. I have a list of a huge number of, what is it? You know, there are days when nobody sends a video in and you're going, oh, we've got nothing to do in the show tonight. I'll have to ramble about something. I'll make something up. I'll just talk nonsense. I'll dribble or drivel, whichever the three is the worst. And I do it, and I manage it somehow. And then other days it's like, you know, waiting for the bus, and 752 keep coming in. There's the 407, boom. There's the 903, and there's the 721. And the bus driver's desperately trying to get home. No time to pick you up, mate. None of that nonsense. So who knows what's going to happen in tonight's show. But I do know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We have quite a lot of videos to get through, ladies and gentlemen, and a little bit of art. Not a lot of art, thank goodness, but we have some art instruction, but less of that, about that the better. Hello to everybody, it's lovely to see you. I can't spend time today in today's show saying hello to you all, so hello to you all. Thank you very much for coming. 110 people already. Golly, one didn't even have to work at this. Normally, you know, it's like going out, because I busk on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. This is me busking on the internet, you know, as it is. And you do all the old sort of, I've got a wife and 2 eyelids to support. Please, give generously and all this. And you gather the crowd, come round, gather round. Normally, you know, it takes a while for people, but they all are. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's superb. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Why not? I don't know why we say that. It's something to say. It's something to do. I don't think it makes the slightest difference whatsoever. But what would a YouTube personality be if they didn't say, give us a thumbs up, mate. Give us a thumbs up. Makes me feel so good. Oh! Not up there, Eric. Sorry about that. That's Eric playing about with the old thumbs up, which is not a good thing. Anyway, less of that gay banter. Right, so, hello, I hope you're all well. We'll try and get some phone calls in, but we are going to go in to get through some of these videos in tonight's show. I am going to do a show where we don't have any videos. I think once a week I'm going to do a show at least where we don't have any videos, any disruption, because there's a whole load of things that I would like to talk about. There's a whole load. Now, you know, I don't want people to think, oh no, I'm not going to send stuff in, because then we're going to get weeks and weeks of absolute void. But there are occasions, you know, when I think, wouldn't it be good to discuss something, get right under our fingernails and get those out into us, and get people calling in and going, Richard, you're absolutely wrong, mate. No, I don't agree with you. You're completely off your trolley. Don't you think about this? What about that? And another thing. You know, I'd love to have one of those argumentative shows that you hear on the radio stations where people come in and they just say, you're talking absolutely out of your woo. Yeah, that's what you're doing. Oh yeah, why is that? Well, I think this, that, and that. I love those sort of stuff. Do you ever listen to that kind of stuff? I do. Think it's great. Anyway, so there's all sorts of people out there. There's Robert Brailsford. He says, no thumbs down yet. What? No, none yet? No thumbs down yet? I think we should do a show where everybody, not today's show, but some show, one show, everybody goes, meh, meh, just to see what happens. It might just sort of, I might get a knock on the door from YouTube Central, you know. Hello, can I help you? Yes, sir. Can you put your mask on, please? I'll try it. YouTube Central here. No, take your mask off. Can't hear a word you're saying. This is YouTube Central. Apparently, 552,978 people, 52,579 people, put thumbs down on your show. They think you're rubbish, so we are going to take you off the air because you have nothing to say. And because if they did that, I might get a day off. I might get a day off. Wait. Are we still in lockdown? I believe we are. You can't have a day off in lockdown. That's outrageous. John B says the fact that seems effortless to Richard shows his genius. Shows his mentally disturbed. Oh, look, 5G. Boo, boo. Yeah, mentally disturbed is more of it. Lance in a Box says, evening, Richard. Good evening to you, Lance in a Box. Lovely to see you. Mark Johnny McLeod says, don't clap, throw money. We used to say that. Playing to a man and his dog in Bath and Glossier. Don't clap, throw money. Come on. Absolutely. Michael White, a gun could get you a lot of viewers, Richard. A gun? A gun? Hey, let's talk about guns, hey? Yeah, it might be the wrong kind of viewers. That's the problem, that we don't want the wrong kind of viewers. Do we ever see Eric, says Colonel Cragratty. Well, no. He isn't allowed to expose himself. His doctor did say the rays from a camera, the light rays, the reversed light rays, because as you know, light hits the lens and that's how it transmits to you. But a small amount of special radiation light is transmitted back. Now, to us mere mortals, it doesn't affect us. We're very lucky, hence why photography is a thing. Otherwise, of course, it would have been slapped in PPE many years ago and a mask shoved round it. But with Eric, of course, it's a slightly different thing because he is subterranean. And subterranean people are not really allowed to escape into the up here. He's more like a Morlock, you see. Aren't you, Eric? That's right. That's right. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. You're more like a Morlock, aren't you, Eric? That's right, sir. Yes, you see, he's down there in the basement archiving the show. I don't know why. How's it going down there, Eric? It's going very well, sir. Thank you, sir. We're streaming madly. You're streaming. Notice your nose is dribbling again. It's streaming all over the place. In fact, the basement there's filling up with sort of all sorts of sludgy stuff. Anyway, never mind all that. Frog in a box. Thank you for that. Dr. Jack Daw says, hello, hope everybody is okay in Vobland. My goodness, if anybody's not okay in Vobland, I want to be the one. Send me a note. Doctor's note. I'm not very well at the moment. Please, will you be light and entertaining with me? Of course I'm light, and then this is a light entertainment show. What else have we got? The Station Master's Choice is talking to Colonel what's his name? And Bonita Jones says, is Eric a troglodyte? Yes, I'm sure. I think he is a troglodyte. He's very good at conjugating the verb. And Mark Donny McLeod says, is Eric down there with the soup dragon? He's probably eaten the soup dragon if Eric's got anything to do with it. He's a bit like that. Ed Loud says, I propose Here we go. Eric gets his own 20-minute show once a week. Well, that would be handy. If only I could drop a camera, lure a camera down, and we see him down in the thing. That would be great. So there we are. Anyway, lots of conversation going on, which is marvellous. We are going to first of all start, why not, in today's show with a little bit of art from the art gallery. There we go. Well, why am I getting feedback? There we are. Am I too? By the way, am I too loud? Have I been too loud? Have I been? Has it been? The needle off the thing? I still haven't quite mastered. I've got two desks here and the sound bouncing all over the place. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's because the fire's on. Never quite sure which one is bouncing which way first. Anyway, the main thing is we are. Yes, we're still alive. So the art, that's right. We're going to look at some art. Here we go. Here's a nice piece of art. This was sent in by the lovely, our master artist, Andrew Norris. Do you remember he gave us the ancestry of lovely Lucy? Was it I Love Lucy? Wasn't that a programme? I Love Lucy. Well, I'm sure Andrew Norris loves Lucy, but he may well love Zorro too, because Zorro also has ancestry. Yes, he didn't have to join any website and sort of make donations to it either. Here is the wonderful ancestry of Zorro, his dog. Isn't that marvellous? That is incredible. That is superb. That is sensational. Turn the volume up, says Suter. Turn the volume up. Turn it up. Can you not hear me, Mother? Can you hear me, Mother? And now it's too low. Too low. Too low, pardon. Too low. Can you hear it? I don't know. Don't know what the matter with. If he goes any lower, he'll be joining Eric. Sorry about that. Love that, Andrew. Yeah, anyone else tapping Julia Bradbury's Cornwall Walks? Tapping them? Oh, taping them, says... yeah, all suited and booted. Isn't that? That's magnificent. There we are. That's a little bit of Zorro there. Oops, hang on. I don't know why it comes, but every time I come out of it, it goes back. I have to turn the thing off. I've got to remember how to operate. Julia's there. She's eating her dinner. She's not on the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. She's not on the show tonight. She gets Wednesdays off. She'll be back on Friday. She'll be back. She gets a night off. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Now, who recalls the trap door? Oh, yes, the trap door. Do you remember trap door? Who's behind the trap door? Wasn't that Willie Rushton that did the voices? Burke! If I remember rightly, that was fantastic. Great series. Anyway, so there we are. Fantastic drawing. And Andrew just knocked that up this afternoon. He said, do you need a bit of art for the show? I said, yes, please. He said, oh, God, what shall I tell you what. He said, hang on a minute. Just, yeah, there we go. Any good? I said, yeah, it's a bit rough. Rough. See what? Oh, never mind. Anyway, so that's a little bit of art there. Thank you very much. It's wonderful stuff. That was from the gallery, the art gallery. We may head back to the art gallery a little bit. Oh, whilst we're actually in art gallery mode. Oh, I can't go to it at the moment. Hang on, let me see if I can. Can I go there? No, that's over there. Ian sent something in and said, I've got a screenshot, but I've lost it now. I've just got it. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head into the world of the video box because we have quite a few of those to go through. And so let's crack on now. If you remember last time, oh golly, we had a bit of a catastrophe because we couldn't get through the videos in time. So tonight, we're not going to make that mistake this time. We're definitely going to get through them. So if you remember last time, there was Nikki, there was Jeffy Sussex, there was Ernie, and there was Susan Luca, who were left behind. And it was sad. It was sad to see them on the little island, the Vobes Island there, all on their own. And we were going, bye, we've got to go now, bye, we're leaving you. And they're all like looking around like paupers, put in their rags. And there they were on this little desert island with the sun shining, the beautiful sandy beach, the palm trees, the little steel band who was there, the waiter service with all the pina coladas. And we were going off thinking, wait a minute, we've left them to have such a nice time in the sunshine, and they were, being rubbed down and massaged and looked after and given some very comfortable sunbeds on that island as we went off to endure another week of whatever it was we've done. And so we've now come back and we've nabbed them. And we've said, oi, get off that sun lounger, you swine. You can't have any of that. Thank you. Thank you. You've got work to do. So Ernie is the first one who's been picked out of the list. Ernie, get off the sun lounger and show us your video, mate. How about that, eh, ladies and gentlemen? How about that? I know there was no audio to speak of. It was au naturel. Thank you so much, Ernie. That was magnificent. I very much enjoyed that. How many people get lovely old deers like that turn up in their garden? Yeah, well, obviously, if you live in certain parts of the country, like down here in Worthing, where the great retired live, there's a lot of old deers down there, but not quite what I meant. Some of them come back from those, yes, stag party, somebody said. Fantastic. They're magnificent creatures. Ernie, down there in Dorset, I am coming down. As soon as restrictions are over, I am on my way. Make sure the spare room is all ready for me. I want to come and stay and see all those lovely animals and things that you have at your place. It's absolutely magnificent. Wonderful stuff. Thank you so much for sending that in. And keep your eyes peeled, because you never know what may turn up. You may see the lesser spotted balding Vobe. I nearly said eagle then, but I meant to say Vobe. Now, we will crack on with another video just to keep the thing going. Susan Luca has been down to the beach where she is down there in Devon. We're sort of down there in the West Country, see? Down there at South Arms. It's nice down here in South Arms, isn't it? Now, there's a question I want to put at the end of this. She sent in 3 little clips, and I've just butted them together. So I'm not sure whether they were in the right order or anything. And again, it is a little bit au naturel. But anyway, I just hope you enjoy it. I've got to find it first of all. There we are, Susan. Susan's down on the beach.
Leave nothing but footprints.
So the question I want to ask is, was that rubbish on the middle bit, the middle section there? Was that rubbish that had been dumped on the beach, or was that just where Susan had sort of spread out, was having a picnic, and that was all your stuff? I'd love to. I don't know if Susan's out there watching. Yeah, it just looked like that was a whole heap of rubbish, and you panned up as if you were. I was expecting somebody to be fly tipping. Yeah, but it was a lovely beach, yes. Leave nothing but footprints. That's what you should do. Same in the countryside. You know, memories is what you can have out there. Leave those. Well, don't leave those, of course. Yeah, a lot of people have commented on other things like that. Ah, lovely beach, beautiful Susan, says Lance in a box. Big thumbs up from Vincent Quill. Fantastic. We've got two more. We've got two more that we didn't see last week. But before we get to that, I've got to show you this. This came in earlier today. This startled me and impressed me no end. All your videos do, but this one had a personal touch to it. It touched my heart in a way that you wouldn't possibly understand. A man of my very simple means, and you know, I go out and I do my thing, and I wander around the countryside and I try and entertain people. I bring back my art. It really gets my art, ladies and gentlemen. And so I'm going to share this immediately. This is from Nigel Coomer. Nigel, thank you for sending this in. This is an absolute joy. This is an absolute joy. As indeed everybody, I'm sure, will appreciate.
I'm the bold explorer, camera in my hand. I wander through the countryside, discovering this land. I share it with my followers, I hope they're satisfied, because there is no better way to while away this time. I visit many places and share so many things, from church spires to woolly sheep and all things in between. And when the walk is over, my work it's just begun. I sit inside my studio and start to have some fun. I put my shows together to show them on the web, to all my faithful followers, for this it must be said. And when the day is over, I sit beside the fire and think about tomorrow's walk as the bold explorer.
How about that? Isn't that amazing? Oh, that was so lovely. We may have to play that one more time before we leave the show tonight, if I remember, or use that to play out with. That was fantastic. Nigel, you are a star. Of course. How could I not? And of course it was Puff the Magic Dragon there, Puff the Vobes wagon. Yeah, maybe I should call my wagon Puff. That would be quite nice. Come on, Puff. Puff the Vobes wagon. Lovely. To the Bald Explorer. An ode to the Bald Explorer. Everyone's enjoyed that. How lovely is that? Fantastic. I have to say, that did tickle my heart and make me smile. You get a great big thumbs up. And there he is, NLC Photography, who was the man behind it. That is Nigel. Thank you so much, mate. And if anybody is interested in having some portrait photography done at any time, you know, they've got the kids, you want to get some proper photographs, go and check him out. I had a look at the website earlier. Fantastic stuff. Can't get you in at the moment in the COVID studio. Obviously, only photographs of lumps of COVID are being taken in there. But outside, he'd be more than happy. Got to make a living somehow. But in the meantime, composing themes for the Bald Explorer. Fantastic. Loved it. It's very kind. Isn't that nice? Just what people get up to, or are forced to get up to, or, you know, their minds are going out of their brains and think, what the hell can I do today? I've got to occupy myself. Stuck in lockdown. What am I going to do? Bang, bang. There's only so many times you can bang your head. I know. Compose something for the Vobes. Send a video in for the Vobes. That's it. There we go. We see we are an outlet for people's creative talent, he says. Outrageous. So anyway, so that was that. So we've done that one. Let me just cross that off my list, and that one and that one. That's marvellous. I don't want to sort of feel like we're rushing through stuff, but some days You know, it's like we come to the end. It's like, oh my God, we're pumping it all through. We will show one more video and then we will open up the phone line. If somebody wants to give us a tinkle, that would be nice. I'm talking about a phone call, not any other kind of tinkle. Should anyone get confused? But there we are. Well done and thank you, says the lovely Julia. How brilliant is that? I'll be learning that one tomorrow on the instrument of my choice, says John B. How fantastic. There we go. Isn't that brilliant? And Benita Holland says it's perfect for my alto sax. Well, we must hear that. We must hear it. Benita, record a little piece on the alto sax. I would love to hear that. We'll play it in on the show. You see, people have got so much talent. This is all I do is I just play your talent to everybody else, and it's marvellous. What a fantastic thing that is. Right, I tell you what, Nikki up there in Norfolk is going to give us a little bit about her favourite book that she never leaves home with. I wonder what it can be. Nikki, be very interested to see this. So let's go over to Norfolk to Nootka Seaglass.
Hi everybody, I've been on a 3-mile walk, 2 villages away. I'm all togged up with about 5 layers on. It's very cold but it's very bright and sunny as well. And every time I go walking I take one book with me and it's accompanied many of my journeys. The book is the book that will be written in my will that I am buried with it. And it's this one. It's Anam Cara, Spiritual Wisdom from the Celtic World by John O'Donoghue. Sadly, he's not with us anymore. But this book is so moving. When I connected to this book, my whole world changed. It's a life-changing book. And if you don't mind, I'll read a passage which I think is so resonant with today's society. And it's about light. And I think we all need light in our lives at the minute. Light is generous. If you've ever had occasion to be out early in the morning, just before the dawn breaks, you will have noticed that the darkest time of night is immediately before dawn. The darkness deepens and becomes more anonymous. If you had never been to the world and never known what a day was, you couldn't possibly imagine how the darkness breaks, how the mystery and colour of a new day arrives. Light is incredibly generous, but also gentle. When you attend to the way the dawn comes, you learn how light can coax the dark. The first fingers of light appear on the horizon. Ever so deftly and gradually, they pull the mantle of darkness away from the world. Quietly before you is the mystery of a new dawn. The new day. Emerson said, "No one suspects the days to be gods." It is one of the tragedies of modern culture that we have lost touch with these primal thresholds of nature. The urbanisation of modern life has succeeded in exiling us from this kinship with our Mother Earth. Fashioned from the earth, we are souls in clay form. We need to remain in rhythm with our inner clay, our inner voice and longing. Yet this voice is no longer audible in the modern world. We are not even aware of our loss, and consequently, the pain of our spiritual exile is more intense in being largely unintelligible. And I think most of us have lost our kinship, our connection to the earth through the modern spheres of how we conduct our daily lives. And I think even in this time, of crisis, we do need to get out there, get into the world, see the things that are on our doorstep, the beauty in nature, because nature is the one thing that we can rely on. We can't rely on the words of others and the actions of some, and the governance of many. We need to be out there creating our own world, building our own society in the way we live, and getting out into nature, I think, can help us to do that. Many blessings.
There we are. Get out into nature. And that's what I try to do as often as I possibly can, usually fully clothed. Thank you so much, Nutka. That was lovely. And you actually, it's interesting that I was thinking when you said that that is the book you want to be buried with. And I thought, there's an interesting question. So let's set that for everybody else. If there was one book that you were going to take to the grave, what would it be? What book is the book that has inspired you, has made you sit up and pay attention, has changed your mind about things, has taken you on a journey that you didn't expect? What book would be the book that was really close to your heart and made a difference? I'd be interested to know. Why not? Why not indeed give us a call on the phone? You can do that on 07934746790. What book has changed your life? Be interested. What book are you a constant referring to? Many people might say the Bible, might be some other type of book, might be Shakespeare. But what other book is there that has inspired you? Otherwise, just give us a ring on any other subject that you care to mention whilst we've got a few moments of time. 07934746790 is the number, and you can dial it with your fingers right now, and I will receive that call. In the meantime, how about there in the chat room? What book has changed your life? Julia says The Last Unicorn. I kid you not. And I know she has actually tried to read it to me. And I had dived under the covers and under the under the cushions of the sofa. I haven't got a sofa, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But you know what I mean, run for the hills. Before the unicorns get you. But what book? My book, Simon and the Homo Sapiens Agenda, says Mark Burgess. Interesting. Proust, For the Long Journey Ahead, says Andrew Norris. The Bible, amen to that, says John B. On the Road. Haynes Manual, says Jeffrey Harrison. Yes, Haynes Manual. Would you go to... who can operate the Haynes Manual now? Any cars that still work with the Haynes Manual? You have to take them into... I suppose old-fashioned cars, of course. Benita says 1984. Well, we're blooming well close to 1984 now, aren't we not? Robert Croser says, yes, he was spoilt rotten, and as was his one. What? Never mind the unicorns, beware the Red Bull, says the lovely Julia. The Observer's Book of Birds, says Rick M. That's an interesting one. The Observer Book of Birds, that would be good. I wish I need to try and sort of get a bit more up to date with birds and things, because I often see them, but I'm never quick enough with my camera when out filming. Never quick enough. What else have we got? The Book of Enoch, says Dr. Jack Doyle. That's not Enoch Powell, is it? No, of course, no, somebody else. Haynes Manual to the Kama Sutra, says John B. I don't know that one. Linda Kane says all my Peter James collection. Linda Cadman, rather. All my Peter James collection. Ah, yes, because he's a Brighton author, isn't he? He does those murders in Brighton. Bestseller in no time. Prefer the Book of Cyril. Yeah, that's good. Lots of books there. A book of poems. The Owl and the Cragrat. A book of parodies of well-known poems, says Colonel Cragratty. Ah, that's good. What else have we got there? I read that. The Manual for the Starship Enterprise, says Angie Ferner. The Haynes Manual. Is there such a thing? Haynes Manual for the Starship Enterprise. That sounds remarkable. And folks do enjoy their Kama Sutra. Yes, I had a bowl of Kama Sutra the other day. You can get a tin of it now in Morrison's for I think it's 99p. You just boil it up there and gobble it up with a thing. It's all the different positions that it's talking about in noodle form, and the noodles float to the top. You've seen these alphabet soups and things like that. Well, it's the Kama Sutra soup. It's quite surprising some of the positions that they get up to as you slosh them around your mouth. But anyway, I hope there's no children watching. I've still got a Haynes Manual for Thunderbirds, says Station Master's Choice. Blimey, that's a good one. Yes, to Spike Milligan, that's a classic. The Completed Works of Spike Milligan, a well-known typing error. A climbing book, says Colonel Craig Ratty. Also, I should just let everybody know, I had a wonderful, wonderful telephone conversazione with Colonel Craig Ratty. It is recorded for the In Conversation With for the patrons of Vobes, and it'll be going out on Sunday. You will get this wonderful 45-minute conversation about steampunk and climbing, mountain climbing. Fascinating conversation that we had. And so if you're not a patron, you want to listen to that, get yourself over to become a patron by donating something and signing up on the mailing list. It's very easy. That's all you've got to do. Dr. Sin, says Ed Loud, by Russell Thorndike, was tempted to say Lord of the Rings, but since Peter Jackson's films, that's not rich enough now. Oh, fair enough. Mike Stevens says, I think it comes in 2 versions. I'm not quite sure what that is. Just scanning here. Clive Waterfall says, bought several bottles of local beers from the Real Ale shop tucked away amidst farmland just south of Wells next to the sea, says Clive Waterfall. Sounds lovely. A nice Real Ale shop. Lance Frog in the Box, I beg your pardon, says a book on trees surely would be a great read. Absolutely. I used to be a steampunk performer, says Dr. Jack Daw. So you'll be interested in the conversation. Ed Moulding says, pass the books on to the next generation. Yeah, well, I will be taking my entire collection of books with me in my mausoleum. Because when I'm gone and dead and buried, I want those books all in the mausoleum so I can pick them up and actually get round to reading them. Which would be good. Roadkill recipe book, says Benita. That sounds lovely. That's what you're going to be buried with, is it? Old school values are the best, says John B. And love the I Spy books. I Spy with my little eye. No sod has called the Vobes. Oh well, never mind. So we'll go back into the video box. And Jeffrey Sussex is the last of our people that we left. He's been on the Sun Lounger and drinking the Pimm's longest in our little desert island that we left him. So, Jeffrey Sussex, you can't linger any longer. We want some of that Sussex thing that you have got for us. Some of that Sussex thing, please. There we go. A few views from Sussex. Could you work them all out? That's what I wanted to know. We should do that. We should do a where in Sussex are these pictures taken from. We sort of used to do that on the Bald Explorer group, didn't we? But we ought to do that in here, or not just in Sussex. Where in the world, maybe? Where in the world am I? I could do a random Google search and just go there. Look, where is this? That sort of thing. We should play some more games on this show. Thanks for the update, gents, says Station Master's Choice. Obviously missed the train of thought there. Says, there's a church out on Romney Marshes which had pink pews after the filming of Dr. Sin. Don't know if it's still there, but Dr. Sin rides the marsh. Oh, I've lost it. It's gone now. Hang on, come back a bit. Rides the marsh from Hythe to Dungeness. Oh, yes. Josephine Suter says, I'll have a little bit of everything, please. Yes, good old Maggot. She remembers my old mate Maggot, who I used to serve when I was at the primary school, sitting around as one of these servers in the dining hall when the great jug of custard turned up. You know, those steel jugs of custard, and you get a bit of sponge roly-poly. What would you like, Maggot? I'll have a bit of everything, please. He did have a lisp, but it's genuine. I don't know. I'd love to meet up with him again and see if he still eats a little bit of everything, or whether he has a more refined palate. You never know. One of these days, some of these old people from my past will come back to haunt me. And that would be interesting. Mark Burgess says a few miles. Station Master says lovely. Wow, such great colours. Thank you for sharing. Oh, that's about the video. Fantastic. Lovely Sussex. Recognise some. Where Am I Wednesday by Richard Suggett. Yes, that's it. What's happened to Richard Suggett? We haven't seen much of old Suggett. Another one that's sort of vanished off the face of. They're all disappearing. But we have plenty of lovely new people. So, don't get too worried about it. John B says, don't mention the custard, Richard. Oh, lovely, good old lumpy old custard that used to sort of come out in blobs onto the... But as a kid, you didn't really know. It was stone cold. The roly-poly had all that burnt stuff on the side. But we ate it up. It was all good for us. It was either that or eating my mother's drunken food, which was all right. I'd like to be buried with the Pink Floyd LP, says Benita Holland. That would be nice. Is it them that did the Brick in the Wall song? I'm not very good with modern music. I know it's not modern music, but it's I'm not very good with music where people sing, that sort of thing. Stone Cold Custard was awful, says John B. I didn't like the skin. I was not a skin man. Could never eat the skin. And yet some people would go, oh, please, can I have the skin? Can I have the skin? Hang on a minute. Let me go with Maggot. What would you like, Maggot?
Have a bit of everything, please.
Yes, he would have a bit of everything. Drunken food, LOL. Yes, well, my mum, unfortunately, for me, and for her, really, because it ruined her life, was an alcoholic, terrible alcoholic. And that's where I get my madness from, Oh, yes, having to deal with an alcoholic is not an easy thing. As many people will tell you. And at this moment in time, this is the sad reality of this stupid lockdown society that we're in. These poor people who may have had these terrible problems. I used to know another woman who I was quite close to who was an alcoholic, and it was a very difficult situation. But I imagine that this person is much, much better now, and has been dry for something like 10 years, which is remarkable. But, or not 10 years, maybe 5 years, something like that. But there are people out there who are really suffering this lockdown. And I don't mean to get onto this subject, really, but we talked about my mother. I don't think my mother would cope. My mother would not cope. She would just be in a drunken stupor through... Well, I suppose that's how she would cope. And it would have hastened her end even quicker. Although I don't know how you could have hastened my mother's end. She was, when she was in her sort of mid-40s, I think you could have pickled her and she would have been more drunk than the pickling fluid. Bless her. She's now up there looking down, cursing me. She's probably... in the original Vobes show that I did, I used to ring her up. So I'd record my show and I'd just ring her up out the blue and I would call her Boffin and I would ask her questions, and sometimes, mostly, she was sort of, semi okay. And I would ring her up and say, Mum, Boffin. And she would go, is that you, Richard? I said, yes, it's me, Richard. Hello, Boffin. And I would ask her a question, about something. And then she would give she'd give a view. People liked that bit. They liked that. It was a little feature in the old Vogue show, the podcast show, back in 2005, 2006, when I first started doing all this rubbish. Suggett is hibernating, says Robert Croser. Maybe he is one of those. I think he still does his live show. I couldn't go and see it last week because I was a bit busy. Station Master's Choice says, was a member of the RHDR, whatever that is, the Royal Society for Drain Retrievers, could be, for some years. One of my bus duties meant a 3-hour layover at Romney Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. There we are, I got it, I worked it out. Suddenly the brain switched in. The little fuse lit up. You may have seen a slight glow and smoke come out my ears at that point. Anything can happen in the next half hour. Stingray. Henry's Adventures says, when I was a child, I wished I'd gone to that school so that I could go to school by train. I don't think they still do the school trains. Do they? No, I don't know. Maybe they do. It'd be nice to have gone to school on a chuff, wouldn't it, with steam coming out. That would have been to give and not to count the cost. Amen, says John B, apropos of. I'm not quite sure. And Michael White says alcoholism is a genetic disease. Now I've got a book on my shelf that says it's not a disease. The the friend of mine who had alcohol. You see, I know two people who are very, very close to me who were alcoholics, and one of them ended up at the Priory, and they taught the something like the 12 steps, I think it is. Absolutely, and I went in and sat in on a session because I was a friend, and they were allowed to invite a friend to sit in on the session to try and understand, and we had to talk how alcohol affected people's lives. And I went there, and in all seriousness, and they were spouting this 12 steps rubbish, and I completely disagreed with the whole process. And they kept saying alcoholism is a disease. It's not a disease; it's a choice. It is a choice. And funnily enough, my mum was admitted to hospital many times because she tried to kill herself because she was she felt so guilty about everything. And many times she was admitted because she'd fallen over and hurt herself through alcoholism. And I remember my sister being very upset when she was turned away and they wouldn't give her any help. One time, and apparently the sister not my sister, but the sister on the ward said, yes, we're getting rid of her. And they said, well, why won't you help? My sister said, why won't you help her? And the sister woman on the ward said, well, it's a lifestyle choice. It's not a disease. And my sister couldn't understand that at the time. But I agree. It's a choice. You make the choice to lift the bottle and pour out the glass. You make that choice. It's not a disease. Cancer is a disease. Cancer is a killer. Alcoholism is a killer. But you don't just wake up one day and go, do you know what? Oh, golly, I'm an alcoholic. You don't end up in, that doesn't happen. It's a habit that it's very easy to form bad habits, and we all form bad habits. Michael White says, I'm from a long line of alcoholics. I'm lucky not to be one. It is a choice that becomes an addiction. Absolutely agree with you there. It is an addiction. It's an addiction. And addictions can be dangerous, of course. I choose not to carry on, clean and dry for many years. 12 steps can work for some, but not for me. I stopped and didn't start again. When the fun stops, stop. Absolutely. There you are. It is a choice. However, there's more to the detail, says Nootka Seaglass. How could it be a disease if alcohol was never discovered? Yes, but that's it. Very good. The thing is, you either... It's difficult if you are an alcoholic, I think, to fully get your head around things, because the experience is so visceral, and it does depend on how, I'm not arguing. When you live with an alcoholic, to try and put this in a way that isn't just talking rubbish, but it's fascinating. If you can it's infuriating. You cannot argue with an alcoholic. You cannot reason with an alcoholic. And there were moments, I don't mean to get a bit serious here, but I'm going to move on any second. Don't panic. But when I was dealing with my father, who had dementia and was demented, and he had no ability to reason, there were these signs that were so similar to my mother, who by choice became demented for periods, but as the alcohol wore off, she became, more able. But it was fascinating to be able to look at both of these people and say, my dad couldn't help it, never wanted to be demented in that state. My mother didn't want to be like that, and I think my mother never really knew the Jekyll and Hyde that she went through, that she could be the sweetest, loveliest and most generous, and very much somebody who would give and never think of having anything in return. She gave and gave and gave until she drank. And then it was all about her, and everything had to be working for her, and it was the flip opposite, and it was vile. She was vile. And it takes a long time before you realise that's the drink is the phrase means. The alcohol is talking. And then dealing with my dad, who could not come out of this state, And you couldn't say it's the alcohol talking. It was the disease. It's a terrible thing. But I wouldn't want to do it again. I just wouldn't want to look after. I couldn't do it again. I'm not that way inclined. But I am glad that I was there for both my parents who went through these terrible things. I have learnt personally a lot, but it's a very, very difficult thing. And I know somebody watching who has a problem with her mother at the moment. And I know how difficult these things is. And when you've gone through this and you've seen this, and I've gone through it when the world was normal, what it must be like for people now in lockdown, I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine how difficult it is. And I know that there's this virus, and I know it's attacking frail, vulnerable people. But I think it's making other people's lives far worse by locking us all up. And I think it's dreadful. On that note, I think we will go to another video and change that subject very, very rapidly. So let us now. I'm going to show you a piece. I'm going to show you some art. Somebody sent this in. I'm not allowed to say who initially. So here we go. Just take this at face value, and then we will play something in after that. Okay?
That's a picture there of my dad. And then there's one of his paintings.
So I was told I mustn't give the game away. Mustn't give the game away, although I think his voice will be giving the game away. That was one of our viewers now. It was his father there. That was his father's art. Clearly the talent has carried on. For our next gentleman will give us a demonstration. Mark Donny McLeod, take it away.
Hi, Vobes. This is another little video. This time, I thought I'd go over some drawing techniques, basics, if anybody wants to have a crack. So, just a styrofoam pencil, pen, some basic copy of paper. You put in a printer. Let's have a go and see what we can do with this. So we're going to go for some basic guidelines here, and then we're going to go and build on top. Here we go. So what we're looking for here is something we can deal with. Well, there we go. So in this one, you see this picture. If I hold it up, you might see some lines, you see, going through the picture. And I've used them to build up perspective. Perspective is a way of balancing things on the page. So let's do another one, shall we? This time, don't have to be perfect. So I'll do a few lines. Now what I'm going to do is do a face. So what I do is I'm going to do between this line here and this line here. And I'm going to draw a kind of big balloon. Why don't you have a go at this as well? And I'll ask Richard if it can cue you up with this. So that's a basic shape. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go across here like this. I'm doing this quite thick, but normally you'd try and do this as light as you could. So we have some lines here, and what we can do now is balance things. So here we can have eyebrows coming in. That goes towards the nose. And then the mouth. Down here. It's just kind of almost like a lady's face. But if you're doing a man's face, you sharpen it up a little bit more. Nose would be a bit more dramatic. Look, we're getting there. Yeah, it's just a expression. So do that, then put another line around there, which allows us to measure better. And then we can put our eyes in. Sort of almond shape. Like that. Try and measure them up against the nose. And we need an eye. So, circle of an eye. And, now the trick to doing this thing with the other eyes is to cut the eye in like that towards the pupil. So let's just do that. Looking that lid up like that. Looking that up underneath. I know it's a bit weird, bit of a strange face, isn't it? It kind of gives you an idea. Now, if you look on the orange face, and find your ears, and then the eyes are normally in line with the nose and the eyes. So if we look down again at our picture, there's the nose, there's the eyes, and let's just put the ears there like that. There's a basic picture. Now we can take that hairline from here. Ladies have a lower hairline than some. Some have better hairlines than others. Some of us don't have hairlines at all. Not really. Now ladies, you'll know, have a sharper jawline than most gentlemen. Not always so, but you know. So there's a basic do. And I'll shoot you in a guideline to draw a picture of a face. Now I work that over and over again. I use rubber and I take out certain lines. I would change other things. But I've got a basic framework there I can work from. Why don't you have a go? When you've done them, send them into the Vobes. That's all for me. To the bye.
There we go. There's a challenge for you. There's a challenge. All your mug shots. Yes. Now, no cheating with those. What was the game that you could get where you could put, slide in different people's eyes, nose, and mouth onto a chart? That seems to ring a bell with me somewhere, unlike the phone did earlier. There we are. Thank you so much, Mark Donny McLeod there, doing the basic art school. And he said in his email to me, he says, maybe Mr. Norris could give us a few hints and give us some tasks to do during the lockdown, get some art going. That was a bit longer than we normally accept, of course, on the show, as you're aware. But sometimes we make exceptions, so please keep them shorter than that. Normally, but Mark Donny McLeod, he said, I try to do it as short as possible, which is, I appreciate that. But it was lovely to see the face slowly appear. And I recognise that face. That was the bloke who ran off with all my money last week. Yeah, so I don't know if you see him, can you nab him and say, can I have my money back? That would be fantastic. Brilliant stuff, Mark Donny McLeod. Lots of people there talking about televisions. Lots of people saying, thanks, Mark. Lovely. That's very good. Mother Nature says, well said, Lance, regarding Robert. I was trying to think of the words to say depression is a bummer. Sorry, I didn't mean to get on that. I had no intention of talking about all those things and getting us down in the dumps on today's show by any means. Sometimes that just happens, though. Sometimes that happens. I saw somebody's comment earlier saying something along the lines of, it's a shame that these serious subjects get taken as jokes and things. Sometimes, though, joking and talking about something, at least it gets it out into the public. And often there's a point, many things are spoken about in joke form, but it does mean that it's actually spoken about. And one of the things that we're going through at the moment in this world, and I worry about the culture wars that are happening, or the war on our culture, is the ability to speak freely and say things and not have people get upset. Or if people get upset, that then they go and close you down. I am on Twitter. I can't remember the last time I looked. When I post one of my videos each morning, I think that gets posted onto Twitter. That's it. I don't go and check Twitter. I don't read Twitter. I find that Twitter is a dangerous place, really. It's a place where people seem to want to get disgruntled and have arguments with everybody. I've never understood that. Same with Facebook. I very rarely go and comment on anybody else's posts, because it's almost as if as soon as you say something, somebody's going to back chat you or say something nasty to you. I find it a very dodgy place. So I put my videos up and I retreat. I come back and try and just say thanks very much to all the comments that people make. It's nice that they do make the comments, but invariably people will still go out and make comments which are uninvited. And why people want to put negative comments on things to make people feel sad or down or depressed or whatever, I never quite understand. It presumably makes them feel better about themselves. And then, the people who make the nasty comments on mine, I go and have a look to see what they've got on their YouTube, and usually no content. They've only set up the channel so that they can be a troll. I find it amusing, if nothing else. Anyway, so we're coming up to 9 o'clock, which is great. We've got 2 more videos. Now, let me just tell you that Colonel Craig Ratty and I had this wonderful conversation, and he has sent in some videos of him doing his climbing. But what I would like to do, if it's all right with you, Colonel Craig Ratty, is keep hold of those and until, where are we today? Friday show. What day are we? We are Monday? No, we're Wednesday, aren't we? Wednesday. I'm losing the track of. Being in lockdown, you start losing the track of. We're Wednesday already. Yeah, Friday show, because Sunday will come out the conversation. So I thought it would be great to put your videos in on the Friday show, and then on Sunday we release that conversation so that people can, it'll be fresh in people's mind, whereas midweek, people won't. If that's okay. So we've still got 2 more videos, which we will get to very shortly. The lovely Julia says, I'm prone to depression since 7 years of age. Even now, I struggle with suicidal thoughts on a regular basis. Haven't acted upon it for years, though, especially not now as I have my boys. Still hurts, though. And I can tell you, I when I had my eye problem, when I had my eye problem, I got to a point after 4 years of quite a lot of pain, and after 9 weeks, wasn't there a film called 9 Weeks with Bo Derek and Dudley Moore? Was it 9 weeks? Something like that. Anyway, that was a nice 9 weeks. My 9 weeks was with sort of migraine-styled headaches. And I was on the floor in agony, and I was on the floor a lot of the time in agony with my eye. But I got to this one point where I just could not contemplate living, and I wanted to commit suicide. I wanted to end it all, and it would not go away. And my friend Nigel said to me wise words, which I've always remembered. He said, "It will pass. No matter how bad it is, it will pass at some point." And of course, I wish it would pass now. It did take some time after that to pass, but it did pass, and I was all right. But I was right at the bottom, and I was ready to go to... I'd worked out ideas of how you could do it, how to take your own life, and I was ready to go on the railway line. I thought, because there's a railway line near here, I thought that would be the easiest way. I'd just put my head on the track and let the thing come through and just, kill me that way. But I wasn't going to do it. I was right at the bottom. I would have done it, but for my children. And that was the thing that stopped me. My daughter, Georgie, the lovely Georgie, who's in New Zealand, one of her best friends' father was a doctor. And he got depressed and hung himself. And they found him. And I remembered that she never forgave her father for killing him, because he had taken his own life, but he had also taken his life away from his daughter. And that stuck with me too. That I think one of the most selfish things that people can do when you've got kids is to go, well, sod everybody else. I'm going to top myself. And I soon pulled myself out of it. And once I'd been at the bottom, I know what being at the bottom really means, what it is to be right down there and think, I want to end it all. And when problems arise, I get frustrated, I get angry. But I always remember I'm not at that point. And hopefully I'll never be at that point ever again. But once you've experienced that, you count your blessings. Even when things are going wrong, you count your blessings that you're not at that lowest point. Give us a call if you so wish. Be interesting. Sorry about that. It'd be interesting to hear any other stories or anybody who wants to talk. 0793 4746 790 is the number. Have a chat. We've got 2 videos. I'm going to play the other videos very shortly. Nutka Seaglass says, yes, hugs, we need them. Michael White says, Julia, you have plenty to live for. Absolutely. I keep telling her that myself. Ed Wolf says, I'm surprised to hear that, Julia. You never know what battles people are facing every day. This lockdown has not been good for a lot of people. Here we go. We have a phone call. I've got to find my headphones now. It's all very well asking people to ring in, but I've got to have my headphones and see who's there. Hello, welcome to the Vobes show. Hello, can you hear me? Can I hear you? I don't know why I can't hear you. Is there somebody there? Have you rung off? Wait a minute. I'm just looking. Gone. Do ring again. I seem to be distorted. I don't know why. Distorted in my own ear, but not anywhere else. Hang on. Try this. No, turn that down. Why am I distorted? I don't know why I'm distorted. There's something. Here we go. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Are you there? If you're calling, you need to stop the stream. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, hello. It's Colonel Cragratty here.
Hello to you, Colonel Cragratty. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Fantastic.
When you're talking about books to be buried with, and I said about the Owl and the Cragrat book.
Yes.
And it's a book of poems written by either guest climbers.
Right.
And they've taken standard poems and reworded them.
Oh, right. Okay.
And there's the main one in it is based on the poem The Owl and the Pussycat.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd just read out the first verse, if I may.
Yeah, please do. That would be fascinating to hear.
So if everybody knows roughly The Owl and the Pussycat, here we go. The owl and the cragrat went to Wales in a beautiful lime green jag. They took some stickies and plenty of bickies and wrapped up in an old chalk bag. The owl looked up the cliffs above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely Ratty, oh, Ratty, my love, what a beautiful Ratty you are. You are. What a beautiful Ratty you are.
There you go. How about that? How about that?
So yeah, that will be my book.
That would be your book. And what a lovely book it sounds.
Yeah, I don't know if you can still get it. You might be able to get it on Amazon if anybody was interested in reading poems that have been reworded based around climbing.
Right. Oh, based around climbing for all those climbing people. So is it all right if I show your videos on Friday and then we can release
fine,
it? Yeah. That's marvellous. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, take care. Look after yourself.
Yep, bye.
Bye-bye. There we go. I need to sort out the system because I keep hearing myself being very distorted and I'm not quite sure what's going on. There's something's amplifying twice, double the amount of amplitude, but you don't want to know about that. A lot of conversation going on out there in the stratosphere, in the Vobosphere. My sister developed anorexia and then became an alcoholic because of my alcoholic grandfather. This is, this is one of those terrible things. It can go both ways. I very rarely drink. I have a huge respect for the alcohol, just as many seamen, if I can use that word, have a respect for the sea. Benita Holland says, start volunteering, try different jobs. Okay, John B says, doesn't matter what you look like or what you have, depression has no respect. That's very true. This is why I love the Vobes family, says Ramiboo. It's so sad to hear of many on here that have so many deep troubles. And this is why we need to keep something where we can all be in a jolly place together. The owl and the pussycat went to sea, says John B. Mike Stevens says, hugs to you, Julia. I find being around trees and mountains helps as they impart their wisdom to us. Susan Lucas says, the Vogue Show cheers us up. Well, I do try. Sorry, I seem to have sort of... Sometimes, when you do a show like this, when you do an internet show like this, you don't have a producer saying, no, don't go on to that subject. Brighten it up, keep it light. You don't have anybody in your ear. And one of the things is that it can be a good thing and a bad thing. So you can start just waffling on about something and, you can change the course of the nature of the show and the conversation and where it's completely unintended. Nuka says everyone has issues that affect their life in some ways, even those who don't seem to have got their stuff together. Kerry Baldwin says, when this is over and we all get back to normal, we should have a BE hug party. Well, I tell you what, as soon as we're allowed to get together, I do want to organise an event in which, whether it's a walking event or just a meet-up somewhere, where we can all meet up in a pub, perhaps somewhere, where we can all get together and just see each other's faces. We've done that before with the Bald Explorer, and it's great because people have just made new friends and they've gone, oh, you're so-and-so and you're so-and-so, and then it's fantastic. And of course, some people are known because they've sent videos in and you've seen their faces. Of course, as the show grows, it's not so easy to do that because the people are on further away, great distances between each other. Vobes, genuine, real. We do try to keep it real. Sean Ford says, praise the gods for the Vobe shirt. Cheers me up no end. I've laughed in tears and got stitches watching a previous show. Fantastic. Thank you, Sean. What nice things to say. And Robert Croser says, look behind the big house and big car, all the gadgets, designer clothes, latest phone and nice salary. Behind all of this is a darkness manifest in an innocent girl. Oh. Yes, I'm sure that many of those people who have bought into a certain lifestyle have more to hide and more to fear and have bigger problems in their lives. I'm sure that not everybody is having we're all very keen. We're all very keen to put on this false facade, aren't we? We're all doing it. Benita says, let's meet in a muddy field. That sounds great. Ramiboo says, I hated office work, but it paid the bills. If it wasn't for the fact of being a music minister on the weekends to have an outlet to release my true passion, I might have gone mad. Absolutely. And Jeffrey Harrison says, the Bald Explorer got together. There's the title of your film, The Bald Explorer Get Together. Absolutely. A tonic for the show, says Mark Burgess. Thank you very much. Well, you're all being very kind about the show, but, bear in mind, all I'm doing is I'm just trying to hold it together. You are the stars, your chatter, your interaction. This would be nothing. Otherwise, I'd just be a bald bloke sitting in his back room talking to himself. So without you guys, this is nothing. And there's coming from a background of busking, and this is busking on the internet, coming from a background of busking in the old days when I was a teenager, learning to juggle and doing stage theatre stuff and all that. The one thing that you always remember, and many performers will tell you this, you are nothing without the audience. If you haven't got an audience, you haven't got a show. And sometimes you see some of these big artists and they're too big for their boots and what have you. And, people flock to them. But really, they take for granted the people who put them there. But when you come from being a busker, I don't think you ever forget that your audience is king. It's like content is king. Here the audience is king. Right, we've got 2 more videos, so let's go and play those for you, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get to the end of tonight's show, and we can all go and relax. Whew, well, here we go. Never expected this on tonight's show, did you? But so we've got 2 to go. I always hate it when I get to the end because I think, who am I going to leave to the end? Who's going to be last? But we'll go this way round purely because it's in the order on my bit of paper. Mike Stevens has been out there. He has been celebrating. That was the word I was looking for. Celebrating Robbie Burns.
Hello, Mikey here, reporting and giving a report on Robbie Burns, whose Burns Night it was recently. One of his most famous poems was about a mouse when he ploughed up a field back in 1785 to a mouse. Wee sleeking, cowering, timorous beastie that needna start away so hasty with bickering brattle. I will be later in and chase thee with murdering pattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubt na was but they may thieve, what then poor beastie thou may leave? A Daemonica in a thrave, it's a small request. I'll get a blessing with thy leave, and never missed. Thy wee bit housie, too in the ruin, it silly was the winds was strewing, and nothing new to big and new in our foggage green. And bleak December's winds ensuing, but snell and keen, thou saw the fields laid bare and wast, and weary winter coming fast, and cosy hay beneath the blast, that thought to dwell, till crash, the cruel coulter passed out through thy cell. That wee bit a heap of leaves and stibble has cost thee money a weary nibble. Now thou's turned out for a' thy trouble, but how so hold to thou the winter's sleepy dribble and cranrock cold. But mousie, thou art know thy lane, in proving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes are mice, and men gang gaff to gley, and leest not but grief and pain for promised joy. Still art thou blessed compared with me. The present only touches thee, but ach, I backward cast my eye on prospects drear, and forward though I cannot see, I guess and fear. Thank you. Mikey signing off.
Hi, hi there new. I wish I could do a convincing Scottish accent there. Fantastic, lovely to see you outside in the fresh air, Mike, and celebrating Robbie Burns. Super duper stuff. I don't think I could read that. That sounded, you read that so flawlessly. I struggle. We're doing the Listen with Vobes reading show. We've just started a new book actually called The Thames to the Solent, which is a lovely book. But the previous book that we did was The Children of the Archbishop, which was a fantastic book by Norman Collins, written in 1950s, I think. And it choked me up reading it out to people. There was just a moment, I burst on my emotions. I mean, these are fictional characters, you know, and I'm reading semi-professionally, you know. Oh yes, reading it out, and then this bit that just I had to stop. I had to stop, put on the screenshot thing. And I just had to blow my nose and dab my eyes because the book had just made me up. Sometimes it's very hard, isn't it? You're reading stuff and it can choke you up. But you read that flawlessly, so well done, Mike. That was fantastic. So we've got one more to go. Thank you very much, everybody, by the way, for all the wonderful comments. I've just sort of scanned reading all of that. People sharing their fears and their worries and their things and getting them out and all of that. It's an amazing community. It really is. Thank you very much for that. So that was Mike. We have, now, do you remember? I don't know, we didn't have any of this. We didn't have any. TurboStream had some, and he went out and filmed some, but we didn't. Just the other side of the Downs, I think they had some. They've got some in Hampshire. I don't know if anybody still got it. Snow, ladies and gentlemen. Snow. I have not had any snow. And it's an outrage. Would like to have had some of that snow because it would have been great to make a film. But Adrian's beat me to it. And here it is, some snow up in the Midlands. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Now, I love that. I think that is just brilliant. And this is what I was trying to illustrate, actually, the other day when I was giving some top tips on video making. And TurboStream's got it to a T. Sometimes you don't need to do very much. You know, you can go out and just hold the camera, think of the composition. Adrian's composition, TurboStream's composition there is absolutely excellent. And the variety of shots, some wide shots, some close-up shots, cutting with the music. just gave us. It's so powerful. Imagery can be incredibly powerful, and with a beautiful piece of music like that, and just just letting the view do its work was just sensational, and it's just powerful. It's like there's some snow, and it was just wonderful to see all of that. So you don't need to, because a lot of people do this and they move the camera around. There's a bit of this and there's a bit of that and all that. Just a series of still shots, one after the other, different lengths, hold some a little bit longer, some a little bit quicker, depending on the pace, finding a rhythm. If you're cutting to music, finding that rhythm, that's, you're taking people on a journey. The thing is, that's what we do with our eyes. We think that when we look at things that we're panning, but we don't really, because the brain is very clever. It cuts out that motion as your eyes move left and right. It cuts out. So effectively what you do get is you're looking over here at a scene and something that gets your attention over there and you turn. You don't really see that turning motion. The brain cuts to the next shot. So we do actually look at things. Mentally look at things. Our heads are editing it in a series of still frames. It's only when we move very slowly and watch something, and it's usually you only do that when you watch something else, like a bird or a person or a truck. And that's what I try to sort of suggest in my hints and tips, is that people do what your eyes do. So beautiful. Yeah, well done, that man. Great stuff. Good photography. Very simple. But simple is best. Simple is best. Station Master's Choice. I'm beginning to see how Richard's tips were actually just right for short format. Absolutely. Excellent photography. I am, just on that note before we finish, I am thinking of setting up a channel, and just debating in my mind whether it's best to set up a channel or to have not another channel, a YouTube channel, or to rebrand everything so that it's on the same main channel but rebranded in playlists. I think that's what YouTube want you to do, because otherwise you've got to build an audience again. But anyway, what I was going to go on and say is to do about my filming stuff and my views and the way I do stuff. People have misinterpreted what I meant by that. They think I'm setting up a new channel just to do video and filmmaking and try and get viewers and all of that. No, it would be just a place to separate the how to do stuff and perhaps just some philosophy on it, not heavy philosophy, but just how I do it and my thoughts on it. I'm not really trained. I'm only trained from doing, which I've been doing since a kid. Mark, anyone seen CG? Oh, GG. I could do with some tips on using the drone. Yeah, I don't know what's happened to GG, I'm afraid. How many of us are turning on their heads now? My brain has disconnected Vobes' mouth with his words. How do you mean? Is something gone wrong? Which is why it's so hard editing long format down to 4 minutes, says Stisham. I'm still working out how to deal with using his tips. I'll do more. Bark is the benchmark, says John B, by which all others will be judged. That's cool. You're just right as you are, Richard. Cool. Excellent. Anyway, so there we are. We've got through all of the stuff. That's amazing. We managed to get through, and there's 3 minutes to go. So that's been a great show. We've gone all over the in tonight's show. It's been fantastic. Sometimes it's nice to have some of those, those deep heartfelt things, and other times we just have a few belly laughs of nonsense. Robin Jones says, "Can I send you photographs?" You can. You can. Probably best to send them to richard@vobes.com. Just put in the subject for the Vobe show so I know. Because sometimes people do just send me random photographs and random emails and things, and I never quite know, is this for the show? Is this just to share with me? I never want to show something that people don't want me to show. So, yeah, just make sure the subject line or an email to say. and I'll do my best to show all the stuff. Great show tonight, says Colonel Craig Ratty. Thank you very much. That's very kind. Very uplifting show. Well, I hope it's been uplifting. I hope that we're leaving on a great note. We're going to leave on an even better note now, because I promised to play this a second time, and I'm going to, because a few people missed it coming in. So before we go, thank you so much, Nigel, for coming up with this.
I'm the bold explorer, camera in my hand. I wander through the countryside, discovering this land. I share it with my followers, I hope they're satisfied, because there is no better way to while away this time. I visit many places and share so many things, from church spires to woolly sheep and all things in between. And when the walk is over, my work it's just begun. I sit inside my studio and start to have some fun. I put my shows together to show them on the web, to all my faithful followers, for this it must be said. And when the day is over, I sit beside the fire and think about tomorrow's walk as the bold explorer.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Thank you so much, Nigel. That warmed my heart today. That really did. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me in my little terraced house here in jolly old Worthing in the back room. It's been fantastic to be welcomed into your homes and hearts, and I appreciate that. Back again on Friday with more fun and games and nonsense. Don't forget to send your videos in via WeTransfer. The details are in the description. Love to play them in. You guys make the show. And, of course, any of your art and anything else. If you've got any other suggestions that you think might work with the show, then we're always up for that. It's all good fun. Keep this lovely growing community, especially during these difficult times. Have a good evening. I am out and about trying out some gaiters in tomorrow's video on the Bald Explorer. Will they work? Will they be a failure? And also, Jeffrey, got some bad news about some boots, but I'll leave that for you to see in the video. Then that's Thursday. So, yeah, then the Vobes show will be back again on Friday. So there we are. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for all of your efforts, to the lovely Judith out there and Julia, who's been moderating. Thank you for looking after that. Thanks to everybody for coming in. Thank you for your videos, of course, and to all the things, and to the phone call that we had from Colonel Craig Ratty. So lovely to have been with you today. Look after yourselves. Sleep well. Keep safe. All the usual. And... see you on Friday. Bye for now. Bye-bye.